I'm Sydney, and I want to talk to you guys about why grumpy old farts are totally worth your time. So, how many of you guys have had those friends that you just like click with instantly? You know, like your best friends? Yeah, you just like become like family immediately. So, I've had those too. One of my best ones ever was actually at a nursing home where I work at John Knox Village. I never even learned her first name until like a few months ago. I've known her for over a year. I just called her Mimi because that's what she wanted me to call her. We were just like family instantly. She actually suffers from dementia like pretty badly, but it's just the craziest thing. She just knows where I go to college, she knows my major, she remembers all these things about me, and it's just crazy shocking to everybody in her family, just how she's doing it. But we just kind of have that connection. We just like click. I think I remind her of when she was a young girl, and I don't know, it just works really well. I think that this topic is important to you all because you guys are still at a very influential age, all of us are. And senior citizens just have a lot to give to us, and yeah, I just think it's something good to know. Like I mentioned before, I do work at John Knox Village, which is a retirement village. I've worked there for over a year now, and I've just learned so much from the residents. Today, specifically, I'm going to talk to you guys about how we can help with the isolation of the elderly. We can learn new skills from them, and they can learn new skills from us. And we can both just gain a super awesome sense of purpose. So, the isolation. It is so hard. We see it all the time. I work in a retirement home where we hire people just to spend time with the residents, and I still see them being isolated. According to John T. Caciapo and Louise Hockley, and People Thinking About People, The Vicious Cycle of Being a Social Outcast in One's Mind on ResearchGate.net in January 2005, when meaningful social connections are perceived as severed or unavailable, however, loneliness can produce deleterious effects on cognition and behavior. Obviously, that's not good, especially like as an older person, you know, you might have depended on people for a long time, and when they just kind of desert you, that's very hard to deal with, and it might be because they're widowed, families moved away, and honestly, people just forget, which is kind of the hardest thing. But it's true. And in unequipped nursing homes, unlike my own, you just see it all the time. People are just lonely, they have nobody to depend on. Yeah, they might not talk to one person in an entire day, and it's really hard to see. But the senior citizens are not the only ones that benefit from this sort of relationship. We can benefit as well as young people. Linda Spence and Heidi Lisk Radonovich, explained in Developing Intergenerational Relationships on edis.ifas.ufl.edu in March 2016 that storytelling is one of the best skills learned when a young person spends time with a senior citizen. Both of us have stories to tell. Little kids, whether it's what they painted today or what they did on the playground, that's a story to tell. Me, I could talk to the senior citizens about what I learned in history class, and maybe they lived through that history. What better way to learn about something than through a primary source? They lived through that history. That's an awesome way to learn. I've actually met a 102-year-old World War II vet, and I kid you not, I met him, and for 3 hours we were just talking about everything that he's been through, and that was just a one-time meeting, but like I go back to him as much as I can. Delivering him food and stuff, just so I can learn more about his way that he's grown up, his beliefs, his morals, just what things were like when he was a kid, and it's super interesting. So I'm going to show you guys this video. Some of you guys might have seen something like it before. It's a nursing home that actually has a child care facility built in. It's just super beneficial for both parties, so I'll just let you guys watch it.
That right there.
Charlene is the director here. The little ones have their own defined space, but she made sure the entire facility is licensed for childcare, setting the stage for something rare and remarkable.
So somebody who might have severe dementia might just open up and see that joy in her life or his life for a moment, and remember being a parent, remember being in that moment. That present perfect is what we see every day.
So obviously that present perfect is like kind of what I was referring to earlier with Mimi. She remembers like all the stuff when she remembers all this stuff about me because it just kind of reminds her of what it was like when she was young. It's just super awesome. If you guys are interested at all, I recommend the video. It's super adorable. awesome watch. So, like I said before, everybody gets a sense of purpose from this sort of relationship. Jessica Adams, an interaction between older adults and children benefit both on 4elders.org, said that young children that lack grandparents or even solid adult role models in their life can benefit so much from a relationship with an elderly person. Everybody needs a role model. Some kids just aren't fortunate enough to get them in their own family or whatever it may be, so these isolated senior citizens, like who better to provide that sort of adult leadership or role models. For the kids, my boss at the retirement village, Anthony Madden, told me in a personal interview on February 22nd, 2017, that the residents make him want to get up and go to work every morning. He sings, Miss Godsey, You Are My Sunshine, where he sits down and talks to Noel for 3 hours. And he means the world to these people, and they mean the world to him, and everybody can tell. It's just a wonderful relationship. So I have a unique perspective on life because I have been doing this for a while, and they've taught me so much. And I'm so glad that I can help some of those residents feel less isolated. They can teach me things, I can teach them things, and we just feel like we have purpose for each other to get up and go to work every day, or go down and eat some food at our restaurant for them. So a famous poet, James Broughton, is accredited under the James Broughton Quotes section on AtoZQuotes.com with stating, "I'm happy to report my inner child is still ageless." And I just hope that more senior citizens in the country are able to say that, because it is really, really important for them to stay young and us to stay educated and wise, and we can just get a lot of benefits from each other. So I hope more people can benefit from this sort of relationship.